Hey folks, thank you for joining us again for another exciting episode of Yoml. This is the year of much good learning. So yesterday we were wrapping up the book Happiness Hypothesis, and today we are wrapping up another book. The It's part 5 of the book Sapiens. So this is the last
Three,
installment.
three in a
Hopefully
row.
not the last one, but sure it could be
Right.
last. But who knows?
Three in a row of wrapping up the part 5 of 5. We did um Thinking Fast and Slow 2 days
Yep.
ago. Yesterday was Happiness Hypothesis, and today is part 5 of 5 of Sapiens.
Sapiens. Yeah.
So
Right.
it's I was on a roll when I was writing these.
Yes, it's rapid fire. Trying to get that 5 of 5.
I was having fun. I actually I must have been reading a really long book if I went 3 days straight without having a new book to write about. So oh, it was the next one is how to think like a monk.
Hmm.
And that's a 5-part series. So I was really wrapped up in that one. I was really enjoying it. It was good. It was a
Hmm.
good read. So as we round out our Sapiens journey, as we've talked about, Sapiens is it's a brief history of humanity. So it's Yuval Noah Harari wrote a book about humans from his perspective. Obviously, like none of these are definitive things, but kind of how we got to where we got to today, and a lot of the things that make us us. I love this book. I mean, I think everybody should read this kind of a book. Just learn
Because
about
it is about
ourselves.
us.
Right, exactly. It's like what else do you want to learn about other than yourself? You know what I mean? Like, how often it blows my mind actually how little I think a lot of us know about ourselves in general, just
Mhm.
as a species. Um I don't know. I was fascinated by this book. I don't know about you, but like this book was where does this one rank on your all-time list?
Mm, I would say probably 5 or 6 in
Yeah,
terms of the, yeah,
that's about where it probably
uh,
falls for me too. Yeah.
yeah.
It's but I love it. Yeah. So my last reflection, part 5 of 5, is titled Homo Humilis. So I don't know if you know what Homo sapien stands for. I think you do, right? Obviously, like the words
Hmm.
Homo sapien, it stands
Hmm.
for wise man or clever man.
Right.
And man, could that be? This thought just hit me one day when I was reading this book, and I was writing this reflection, and I was like, how arrogant of us to call ourselves wise man. Like, I mean, we gave ourselves the label, right? Like, we were like, who are we? Oh, we're the smart ones. Like, we're the wise ones. We're the
Hmm.
clever ones. Like, that's how we're gonna label ourselves. And it hit me like, just the sheer arrogance of us giving ourselves the label of wise man. Like, and it reminded me of like just one of those like super super arrogant people you come across sometimes in life, and don't get me wrong, I think we all are in some capacities of our existence, but somebody that really just thinks that they know everything, and just understands the world more than you do, and it reminds me of in particular when I was writing about this, Cecily Strong's character on SNL of the girl you wish you hadn't started a conversation with at a
Hmm.
party, and
Right.
it just reminded me, like, of that sheer arrogance of somebody where they think they really understand it. They think that they understand everything that's going on in this world, and I think everybody else is looking at them and laughing at them, and they humor them. But at the same time, like, they're if you ask Cecily Strong, is she a wise woman? She would absolutely say yes. And here's a quote from hers
She
from one
probably
of
won't understand why you ask it that question.
it's
Isn't it
it's like duh,
obvious?
yeah, it's duh. Here's a quote from one of her skits. She goes, "There are homeless people in this world. They can't even afford their mortgage. Is that what George Washington wanted when he started America? It's like, read something, Seth. Learn a book. I mean, come on, like homeless people that can't afford their mortgage. it's just so funny, right? You know, we all like look at her and we all laugh and it's funny, but with every great like caricature, right? You know, it's rooted in like in reality. There's every one of us are like this in some way, shape, or form. You know, where we just think that we understand the world and love to tell everybody else how they don't understand the world, and we do. You know, and you know, we might humor that person or whatever, but secretly we're all laughing at them, you know, behind their back or whatever, right? You know, and it made me and like, so what does this have to do with Sapiens, right? Is this is what it reminded me of when I learned from Sapiens about the whole agricultural revolution, and when Yuval Noah Harari asked who domesticated who, and I
Hmm.
don't know why when I first heard that, you know, in this book, I was kind of like, well, shit, well, shit, like I mean, maybe what he may be right, like you know, because we used to live this like you know life as a nomadic tribe where we you know had a great diet, a varied diet, and we you know went from place to place, and we ate the foods that our body was meant to eat, and we you know dropped it all for the you know the idea that we could farm and grow a particular crop, and we dedicated our lives to raising you know corn and raising wheat and building cities around that and completely reconstructing our diet and reconstructing our lifestyles and reconstructing everything that we do and in order to be smarter than everyone else because we could find our own food source, and all the while like you know we were doing the best job ever for corn and wheat and soy and you know and all these crops that we grow because they didn't have to do shit. We did everything for them. We learned how to genetically re-engineer them. We learned how you know what climates were best suitable for them, best ways to produce them. You know we've spread their seeds and their DNA all around the globe. You know I mean we've done everything you know in pursuit of helping their species thrive and survive, and we've completely altered everything about us in order to be able to do that. And it makes you think, you know, just like the author says, like you know who domesticated who. Are we the girl at the party that you know that nobody wanted to talk to, and the plants are just you know laughing at us kind of thing, where they're like, what a bunch of idiots. They call themselves Homo humilis, and I mean they call themselves Homo sapiens, and these dipshits have been you know doing exactly what we want them to do for you know for forever and ever, right? You know, and it kind of you know makes you a little chuckle a little bit potentially. And it kind of got me thinking again about the whole idea of the white man, right? You know, and we think that we're so smart, and I've always you know before I read this book and before this journey, I don't know about you, but I've always thought of like Homo sapiens and humans, I guess you know whatever our species as like the dominant apex predator in this world, right? We are the smartest. I mean, we can communicate, we have language, we have imagination, we have all these like we have culture, we have all these weapons that we can deploy and have catapulted us to what we think is you know the dominant species in this world. And then you know you see stories like this and you open your eyes and you see a little bit of a different perspective, and you're like, well, we're not that special. Like you know we have a purpose. Like you know we're pretty cool, but so is a lot of other things. You know, like and we're just one piece of the chain. You know, and we're not that important. You know, we are important, but so is everybody else, right? And that's kind of been one of the biggest like transformational you know thoughts for myself over this whole entire journey of you know relearning this world is understanding you know we're pretty damn cool, but we're not the wise man. You know we maybe we should start to rename ourselves, is why I titled this one Homo humilis, which is me, the humble man, because the humble man goes, I don't know anything, and that's okay, but like I'm just going to play my role and do my thing and keep you know keep the you know idea of where we fit into this whole entire grand scheme of things and context at all times, and never stop learning, versus walking around going, yeah, I know I'm the wise man, you know, like I'm the really smart dude that knows everything, right? Like you know everybody should bow to us kind of stuff. So that was the reflection that I got from this one. So that's why it's called Homo humilis. So maybe that's what we should have named ourselves, is the humble man. Anyway, love to get your thoughts.
Yeah, so for me, it's I don't think it like that. To me, one of the saying I keep saying is, nature is a force. Don't force nature. Because if you don't call yourself Homo sapiens, then the wheat will not able to domesticate you,
Maybe.
right? Because you think about it, I mean, yes, in reference to the book, we're talking about the agricultural revolution, where we becoming more agriculture centric, and we do all these things, and we are the one in charge. But essentially, if you look at from outside of our perspective, the Homo sapiens perspective, it looks like the wheat has domesticated the humans, right? And so, but the thing is, humans are humans because they are humans. Meaning, a wolf is a wolf is a wolf. A lion is a lion is a lion, because it's human. If it is in its nature to be that, it is in our nature to be like Cicely Strong. And even today, we're talking about like back into the 70,000 years ago to today, that nature hasn't changed, because you go out there, and I'm saying, I'm looking at this world like from a spectator perspective. I see Cicely Strong all over.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know
I mean,
about you, but
we all are.
we are. I mean,
Right.
even me, even you, we are, because we are blind to what we can't see in ourselves.
Right.
We only see in other people when they say, "Well, I see you're wrong," right? I see, but from our perspective, we don't see why we're wrong. I don't understand why we're wrong, and that's the thing, is that's our nature. You can't change it, and because you can call yourself a Homo habilis, right? Then it is not your nature. So I don't think it's that simple.
I agree. I
Because
mean,
because the thing is,
I
to
was joking,
me,
obviously, with the with
right?
the
Because the thing
title, but
is,
yeah.
for us, like I'm saying, is we don't choose the genes that we inherited. We just don't can't do it. We can't choose it, right? If I
Right.
were to produce something, I want to, a pet or whatever, I can choose it, because I'm like the upper generation downward. I can choose, but as a person who are the result of something before you, you cannot choose who you become. Somebody chooses for you.
Right.
So it's your human nature. It's your nature. Lion has his lion nature. The dog has his dog nature, and the wheat has a wheat nature. Human has human nature, and human nature is gonna be Homo sapien. You can't change it.
Right.
It is what it is, because it reflects the species in general, and it
Right.
hasn't changed from like a million years ago. It hasn't changed. We
Right.
are the
We're
same as
Grandmaster
before.
Champion. We should have called
We,
ourselves. I'm mean, call for here now. Fourth, call me Grandmaster Champion Chris. Of the universe. Like
and that's our directive, though. You
right.
think about it. I mean, you think about like keeping up with the Joneses. Do you think that is prevalent in today's society?
Yeah, of course,
Of course. Why is that?
because that's what we do.
Exactly. That's our nature. We
Right.
can't help it.
I know.
We
Yeah,
cannot help it.
we have to mirror what's going on around us, and I think did I tell you that study that one time that they did with babies and monkeys, like not babies but like toddlers and monkeys. They gave
Mm-hmm.
them like similar tasks, and they asked them to, like, I forget what the exact task was, but they gave them similar tasks, and the creativity and imagination of the monkeys
Mm-hmm.
was like off the charts
It
higher
forced to pass
than the
us.
humans, like way past it. Like they created way more innovative solutions to the problems that were presented to everybody, and they blew away the human toddlers, in terms of just sheer ability to solve a problem in a unique, clever, creative way that nobody else, the kids didn't, the babies didn't ever think of, like not even
Mm-hmm.
close. But do you know what the difference was between the humans, and why they eventually
Yes,
what
I know the story, because the moment one kid gets it, everybody gets it.
Yep. They shared the answer with each other.
I
And then
mean,
yeah,
and
right.
it's almost immediate too. It's not
Yeah.
like it's not, you don't need a, hey, maybe you need randomness for this solutions to come about. The moment the kid got it, everybody else, oh, you got it, okay, and then the whole
Like
group gets
wildfire,
it, and
right.
it goes like completely. Everybody
Right.
like level up immediately, like ding, like kind of like the monkeys, like they can be creative as they can, but they are
They don't help each other.
isolated by
Yeah.
person, right?
Right.
And in theory, the scientists are also, I guess, hypothesize that the Neanderthals are the same way. They are smarter, stronger, but they don't have the ability to
Help each
kind of
other.
like get everybody to the same level. The
Right. Yeah.
moment the moment one person level up, then everybody will level up. I mean, I'm talking about
Right.
everyone, not just like some of it or most of it. Is all of them gets to the same level. And so
So
so that's the beauty of Homo sapien. And the thing
yeah.
is, that's our nature.
Yeah.
We didn't create it. It's just we inherited from somehow, somewhere. That's who we are. We can't change ourselves. We are who we are, and fortunately, fortunately or unfortunately, we have inherited a number of genes over the past million years that make us this kind of species that you see
Yeah.
today.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, it's really fascinating. Actually, I just finished this book called The Nurture Assumption last weekend, and it was about how parents really have zero effect, honestly, on kids and how they become what there's this assumption that like the nature versus nurture assumption basically is what the book's about, where parents feel like they have this huge effect on children and who they become and how they turn out in their life, right? There's all these, the drama of the gifted child, right? The stuff that you do to kids can really fuck them up, kind of thing, as parents, right? Is the prevailing assumption. Well, this book kind of blew my mind a little bit in terms of what her theory is like the nurture assumption is totally wrong. Like parents really have very little impact on children and who they become, because they can't, because what really has an impact on them is what
It's who they are deep down. Basically, to me, nurture is like the outer skin. I mean, you can paint, you can whatever, but it's skin deep. It once, because yeah, you can get to me. You get, if I'm not an obedient person, okay, you can get me to be obedient for a short time, maybe 30 years, but I eventually go and explode,
right.
and I'm gonna become who I am, because inside of me, the more it is misaligned with who I am, the faster and the more explosive I will explode.
Agreed.
Right? But if I have a weak psyche, yes, you can probably wrap me up and contain me for a longer period of time. But eventually, if you can contain me my whole life, my whole life is going to be worthless, right? At the end of the day, when I leave Earth, I'm going to feel like I'm a worthless person. But if I have any strong psyche, like a strong character within me, and you're trying to wrap me with something that opposes me, it's gonna have this violent explosion, because I would become this black sheep that everybody hates, right? And I would do things that it's gonna cause some pain. And so
Right.
to me, you can wrap a bomb inside a blanket, it's going to explode. It's not going. It's too strong. Inner,
Right.
like your nature is too strong for it. Sometimes
Agreed.
you can wrap something. Hey, maybe I wrap a potato and it couldn't grow because its growth is weaker than a bomb would be. But if you wrap a bomb, well, if it explodes, the blanket's not going to do anything to contain that nature. So you can do an etymology study to say, well, I wrapped these things and it didn't explode. I mean, you can wrap a rock and it explode because that's its nature. It's not going to do anything, right?
Right.
So to me, in certain cases, you can pick and choose the cases where it aligns with your hypothesis, and you can prove to the world, hey, nurture is it's better than nature, vice versa. But to me, it just depends on the nature. If the nature it is opposing the nurture, it's not gonna last. The nature will
Agreed.
always win.
I agree with that. However, there's one big thing that you were missing based off of what we were just talking about with like the monkeys and the kids.
Mm-hmm.
There is a huge nurture element, that we were just talking about to our lives, but it's not from our parents. It's from our peer groups. That's who really
Because
raises.
that's our nature, though.
Yeah, exactly. No, I
I mean,
know.
it still
I
go
agree.
back to our nature, because
Yeah.
because you know the saying, people saying, blood is thicker than water,
Right.
right? Why do you think they say that?
Because it matters. It
So
matters more
so
to how we interact with each other.
my point isn't that blood is thicker than water. So the real saying is that the saying that people did not understand, the actual saying is the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. What that means is that the relationship that you bond with, like your peer, it is actually stronger than your relative.
Yeah,
That is what it's saying. That is the actual translation. It's not your blood brother is, it's, thicker than strangers. No, it is the blood of the covenant. It is the relationship that you make. It is stronger than your sibling, your relative, your kinsman, right?
yep,
It's actually, that's the whole saying. People just shorten it, and it misses its meaning. But the thing is, it's in our nature. Our nature, it is, we need to be in that peer group. That's why keeping
that's where
up
we
with the
learn.
Joneses,
Right.
right? We're keeping up with the Joneses. It is prevalent, and that's also why when one kid gets the solution, everybody gets it, because
Yep.
that is in our DNA. That's our nature.
Right.
Our nature make us do that. So even in the nurture, it is a sub concept of nature. So
I agree.
nature
Yeah.
always wins, because nature is so strong. Because whatever we do, even in nurturing, it has to do with nature itself, to kind of spawn the nature aspect. Because
It,
we cannot. That's what I'm saying. Is if you trying to change who you are, you will be miserable. I
yeah.
mean, you can, but you'll be miserable. You can say, "Hey, I'm a monkey. I want to be a lion now." So I'm put on a fake mane, and I'm gonna roar, right, like a
Right.
lion. Yeah, you can change yourself, but you're gonna be miserable.
I mean, I 1,000% agree. I mean, it's what I forget the exact phrase or saying, but it's like, you are the accumulation of the five people you spend the most time around, in your life. Like
Right.
like your wife is a part of your peer group, or like your spouse, significant other, who that is, like you and I, we spend a whole lot of time together. Like the stuff that we talk about obviously has massive influence on each other in terms of where
Of
we're going and
course.
what we're doing. And your friends, close friends, and whatever. I mean, like the coworkers that are like my parents. I've thought about this a lot because like I'm I'm so different than both of my parents. Like, I mean, I'm and my sister's really different from me too. Like in terms of our personality. Like
This is why we're
I don't
saying that the blood is thicker than the water. Blood is thicker than water. The blood of the covenant. You and I are blood covenant. We took the blood oath of, hey, you and I do this here. That is actually
right.
stronger than you and your sister and me and my brothers,
Agree.
because
Yeah.
I don't have the same behavior and characteristic as my brother. I spent more time with you when I would never seen you
Yeah.
than my brother. I see my brother once every 3 months, or maybe longer than that. I see you fucking every day.
Yeah, no, you're
But
you're you're
so you
totally right.
think about it, that's what I'm saying is the peer group that you're saying, it is so dead on.
It's massive. I mean, it's like I've been pondering this for a while now too, because like I'm an incredibly competitive person, and my parents are not competitive at all. But my best friends that I grew up with are all really competitive.
Mhm.
And that's because was it because that we were all really competitive and we all just happened to meet each other and that was our nature and we all enjoyed our peer group, or was it vice versa? I mean, to your point, it's kind of irrelevant. It's neither here nor there. Like they like to be competitive and I like to be competitive, and we've been like really close friends since we were all, I have a group of like five of us that were all really really close. We all played a lot of sports, we were all really competitive, we all met each other through sports, we continue to do these things. That's what we still continue to connect on. That's what we all text about all day long in our group text message thread that we have. It's still, it's why one of my best friends is this guy named Adam who lives down in Florida. Like every time that we come together, like within 5 minutes, we've made some game that we're competing against with nothing. Like, I don't even know what it is. It's like it just magically happens every single time that we're together. One of us will have a ball in our hand, and all of a sudden, 5 minutes later, we're trying to see how many times we can throw back and forth before we drop it, and, like, counting it off, and we're just wrapped up in our own little world, and we're like, what the fuck is wrong with us? But, like, the point of what I'm getting at is, like, that is where I learned my competitive nature from. It was not from my parents. It wasn't from whatever, and everything else that I have done subsequently going forward in my life had nothing to do with anything that happened in my home life. Like, I mean,
Right,
it
because
blows my
that's what
mind.
I'm saying is, nurture has nothing on nature, because thing is, you
Right.
think about it, like I have two older brothers, I have two younger brothers, and I have two younger sisters, right? Meaning I spend time with them growing up, but I don't spend time with them the moment. I mean, it's like I go find my own friends, right? Because it's not like nature, like nurture. It's like, hey, since you're already there, so you guys do things together. Now you
Right.
stay together. No, the thing is, I have different interests, and that comes from nature. And you
Right.
competitive, right? It comes from nature, not because you guys get together and then you become competitive. No, you guys are already competitive, and then competitiveness attract competitiveness. That's
Exactly.
what gets you guys together. Nature bonds together. It's not because you say, well, nurture, I'm going to put this guy together and make them play tennis, right? Let's say you pick random kids, 100 random kids, right? And you teach them tennis. How many of them going to be want to play tennis,
I
right?
mean, a small subset of them,
Not 100%,
right, right, yeah,
right?
exactly, yeah.
You say maybe, how about I give you 25%? Is that a good number? Even
I
25% is still high, because to
I would think
me,
so, yeah.
most of these guys like, I don't like tennis. So nature is the only thing that drives us.
Right.
Nurture does not do it. Nurture is a accelerant. It makes you more of what um who you already are, right?
Right.
It amplify it. Like, let's say you're competitive, and you are allowed to be competitive. You put in a environment where you are encouraged to be competitive, then you become extremely competitive.
Right.
It just amplify who you are. It doesn't change who you are. So to me, that's my opinions on nurture. Nurture does not have the gears to drive you. It only adds to the engine to make you go
it,
faster.
it
But
helps
that's
you to
the only
find,
thing.
it helps you to
But
find the peer groups that align to you, and that's that, honestly, that's meaningful relationships. Like, that's exactly what we've been talking about this whole entire time, is like Clubany is a peer group of people that care about the same kind of work and care about the same kind of values that become meaningful relationships. Like that is basically what it's a peer group, ecosystem, of people that care about the same shit. And you could have little pockets of different peer groups within the same ecosystem, but at the end of the day, it's just an ecosystem of people that care about, that they can find other people that care about the same stuff that they care about, and they can go, produce meaningful work together, and have fun together, and do the things that they naturally like to do together, and produce commerce out of that potentially, or something like that, if they want to. But I guess, as it relates, going all the way back to this reflection of, homo humilis, like, versus wise man versus the humble man. I mean, like, it's such an important factor for me, I think, in this whole journey, because this is the one of our founding principles of Clubany is we don't know shit, like, and I really do keep that to my core these days, and that's why this reflection is what I wrote about it, is another variation on I don't know anything. And I know that that's something that you and I both connect on, because we appreciate curiosity and understanding, like, hey, like, we have a lot more to learn. So, like, we like learning together, and that's how we're going to connect with each other. And that's one of the founding principles of what we're trying to do with clubbing in the ecosystem we're trying to build. We could have totally built, the wise man, ecosystem, where it's like, hey, we're super smart, and that's called academia, like, I mean, academia is basically the wise man, Clubany version, right? We're building the homo humilis academia, or the anti-academia, where we don't know anything, we're just out there exploring together, and that's fine. But, like, I get, I was just trying to be comical with this whole entire idea, but at the same time, like, it's important, because that's going to be inform who our peer groups are, that we that we bring into this, people that have the same kind of a mindset of yeah, you're right. Like, I don't know everything, and I want to go explore this stuff together with other people, and that is fun. I would rather have that at my core than going, oh yeah, we're the people at the party that know everything, and
Yeah, but that's the thing is, and the important lesson we need to understand is that we cannot change who we are. So the lesson we have to understand and apply is that that you're talking about we are the accumulations of the 5 people that in our circle. So
Right.
you say, well, because of that, I can life hack myself and then go find some circles that I think I belong in. Let's say I'm a fucking beaver, right? And I would go find 4 lions to be in. And I would say, hey, I want to be like a lion. I want to be respected. I want to be like, part of the king, the king of the jungle group or whatever. To me, even if you do that, because it's against my nature, like, I'm not a lion. That isn't gonna work. Because
Yeah,
this is what
I agree.
people are. This is what I've
Sorry.
heard, like these
Yeah.
these self help gurus are telling you to
Right.
do. Say, well, you gotta go find, like, let's say you wanna be happy or be rich or whatever. Go find 4 millionaires and hang out with them. The
Right.
thing is, you're gonna be the like the fifth wheel, and the thing is, you're gonna be miserable all the time, regardless of whatever you can attain. It
Right.
doesn't fulfill you because you are not who you are. So same thing with company itself is our peer group. It's like you have to come in as who you are. You
Yeah.
cannot say, well, I want to be like these people because these people are carefree. They don't care about shit. They don't run for trains. And if I run for trains and I want to be with like them, it's not gonna work. I guarantee you, not gonna work. So the thing
Yeah.
is, you are who you are, and you attract other people who are going to exude that characteristics. Because if you exude the wrong characteristic and you get attached to it, it's going to last for a short while, and then you're going to hate yourself. And the people that you attracted, it's going to say, "We were fucking liar, right? You're not who you are." They're
Right.
going to cast you out in the end. So you're wasting all that time, and people are going to hate you for it.
Right.
So don't don't try to life hack yourself. You cannot force nature. Nature is a force. Don't force nature, right?
Yeah,
That's the
I
same
agree.
I'm saying is who you are is who you are. You have to accept who you are, right? You can't all be lions. You can't all be eagles. You can't all be whatever that you think. Yeah, that it's great, right?
Right.
Right? If you're a cockroach, you're a cockroach. Okay,
I mean,
be a
what's
cockroach.
wrong with being, yeah, like, what's wrong with being a tiny little rat rodent, like, that's how I like being a
What's wrong?
raccoon.
What's wrong with being a crow? You remember I told you about the crow story, right? The crow's not happy, right? And he goes to the monk and he asks the monk, "Hey, can you change me into a different bird, like a peacock or yeah, a parrot or one of those beautiful paradise bird, right?"
Right.
And the monk tells him, go ask those birds. The bird say, well, I'm not happy. That guy's happy. So he keep following these birds that say, hey, I'm not happy, or I'm not beautiful, or whatever. He keep
Right.
so when he goes to the parrot say, I'm not happy because I'm in the cage all day, right?
Right.
Right, when who's happy? The peacock's happy. He gets to spread his wings, whatever. You go to the
Right.
peacock, say, I'm in the zoo
Uh,
all day, right? And the
right.
thing is, he keep going
That's fine.
around now. And the end say, well, the crow is happy because he's free to do whatever he wants, right? He don't get, he gets shooed by the people because people don't want him.
Right.
That's why he's free. But that's the thing is, you cannot change who you are. You can only be happy. You can say pretend, but that pretentious is going to cost you a lot of heartaches and misery. And to me, even if you join company on that pretense of I want to be like this guy because I don't have it, that is going to cost you headaches. What we are recommending, what we are trying to encourage is that you have to learn about who you are first,
Right.
and then say, okay, I am this guy. I am in this corner. I am this. I don't know. You could be, hey, I'm a
Um,
fox, or
yeah,
I'm
right.
I'm a
Yeah.
hedgehog, or I'm a deer, I'm whatever. I'm a deer, right? And you just identify as a deer, and you live your life as a deer. Other deers will come
Yeah.
because I'm a beaver, right? And I do my shit. I
Well, not just
beaver my
not just other deers, like the other people ones, the
the
deers,
other deer,
the
the other
byproduct of what deers do in the ecosystem brings in, you don't just
right.
have to be a bunch of deers hanging out with each other. You can be,
Deer, rabbit, they hang out
yeah, whatever.
together,
Yeah.
so
Right.
you anything that is compatible with who you are.
Right.
But you say,
Exactly.
well, I'm a deer and I want to go and be hang out with a lion. Well, you are anti-lion because lions want to eat you, and
Yeah.
you run for a lion. So you opposite what a lion would be, right? Your characteristics are different than a lion. You trying to be a lion, you just masking yourself to be this posh person, posh animal. You're gonna cause misery, and the other people ain't gonna give you shit because they say, well, you're so worse at being a lion. Like you just bring a group down. They're gonna cast you out anyway. Because you think about it, if they say, "Hey, I'm not," like they say, "I don't value violence," right? Can you stand people when you go around and have people beat up, your group beating up other people? You just can't stand it. And then people say, "Hey, shoot, join in and you give him a punch, give him your best shot." Can you
Right.
do it? I mean, you think, hey, it's hard for you to be telling, "Hey, I'm gonna be this violent person. I'm gonna beat up this person. I'm gonna join in." You're gonna stand back and say, "Okay, I don't want to do it," right?
I don't
So
want to do it.
you're
Yeah. I
gonna
mean,
you're gonna
that
you're
happened to
gonna
me
get cast
all the
out
time. Yeah.
anyway, right? So
Right.
you
Yeah.
can't become it. Like you say, I want to be like a millionaire. I'm gonna be 10 million. All right, go to a party. Well, you got money. Dish out some money, dude, because you want to be part of the club, right?
Right.
I pay for this lavish party of 30 grand tonight. Now you pay 30 grand. I don't have 30 grand. How can you dish out 30 grand? So you can't say, well, oh yeah, just join 4 millionaires and then later on you become millionaire. I say, who's gonna give you that? It's
Right.
not like it's not like they that dumb to say, hey, you're just gonna switch off of them. So
Right.
all these gurus that self-help gurus tell you that all these tricks, right, to trick your human nature, it's gonna backfire on you.
There was there was so many, like, what you're saying
Life
it's hilarious.
hack.
I hate that word, by the way. Oh, that word gives me like the
That is
flash.
what people say. Life hack.
Uh,
You gotta hack it because I
it
mean
drives me, it
you
drives me
want to be a
nuts.
millionaire, hang out with 4 millionaires, and you are the result of the accumulations of four of them, right? You
Right.
can't
I
hang
mean,
out with them, like unless you have enough money to throw out on the table. Well, and they ain't gonna take you in. They say, hey,
that
you're a
that
smoocher.
was that
Get
was
out of
that
here.
was that was exactly what I was about ready to say was when I was in a one of the things I loved most about being in a fraternity was it was such an eclectic mixture of like little pockets of cliques. So there was like 120 or 130 people or something like that where they were in my fraternity when I was in there at any given point in time between graduating classes and people that lived in the house and out of the house and whatever, somewhere around that, right? And
Mm-hmm.
within that mixture of that 130 person makeup, there was just all kinds of different people and all kinds of different like cliques and whatever, and people that were meatheads, people that like were academics and studies, and people that were like more sporty kind of people that were drug addicts, people that were what I mean, like I mean there was anything and everything you wanted to pick, to go be friends with.
Mm-hmm.
You had that opportunity, and a couple of my pledge brothers in your pledge class in particular all even has its own little, like, you have this unspoken connection because of everything you go through. So like you're naturally like predispositioned to like want to be a part of those people's peer groups. I've never been somebody that's been like really clingy or anything like that ever in any relationship. If it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit. But there was a group of my pledge class. They were really like meathead dudes. Like they were just like, and I'm not a meathead. Like I hate lifting. I hate that culture. I hate whatever. But like there was something hilarious about them that was like appealing to me. And it was just they were just like goofy as hell, which that appealed to me because I'm kind of a goofy dude, just in general. And but I always knew that I didn't really quite fit in with them. I mean,
Right.
we were always close, and we always got along really well. And I like wanted to be maybe a part of them, but whenever they would do the stuff that they would do, I was like, I don't want to do that stuff. Like, but like the stuff that you guys do want to do, like I didn't mind joining in on that, but I was never fully, in that
Yeah,
little
you were
clique.
never in a circle,
And
right?
I
You
could have
you
tried,
you maybe overlap the circle, but you cannot be in a circle, right?
exactly.
And so
Right.
that's why I mean, like those guys that you hang out with, you don't hang out with anymore, right?
No, I
If it
don't.
was
I
in
mean,
your circle, you would say, "Hey, I still hang out with that guy.
yeah,
He could be halfway around the world, and you still hang out with him." I guarantee you, you want to.
It's why Snow pops up on this on these things, because like Snow and I are more, way more likely, like alike in terms of
Right.
how we like want to be in our life. Like Snow actually lived with this group of meatheads actually,
Meathead.
because Snow was actually like like oddly enough, Snow was a really good athlete, right? He was a really, really, good soccer player his whole entire life, and
Mm,
he's always been like a top athlete, right? Similar to me, like I've always been a really, really good athlete, but also I like to slow things down and be a little bit more cerebral and think about stuff, and and these guys are like they're almost reminding me of like golden retrievers, where it's just like just they're just like super happy, like like nothing but like let's just drink all day long and lift and like yeah, and it's like they're like big old goofy dumb butts, or whatever. They had some like appeal to it, but
uh-huh.
Snow somehow had a more appeal, and he actually lived with them. So Snow and I would like obviously had a good relationship because Snow and I lived with each other actually eventually, but like Snow was kind of the bridge between the two of the of that world, right?
Hmm.
Somehow he was very much so accepted by them, like fully embraced by them. But I don't know that Snow ever really enjoyed that because like that's not Snow, like so like
Right. So if you're not yourself, it
right.
doesn't last. I
It
mean,
doesn't. Yeah.
you can prolong it as long as you can keep, I guess, keep up the facade,
Right.
right? But keeping up the facade takes energy,
It does.
and to me, it's you are wasting time. And like I say about time, time is the only resources, is the most precious to you that nothing can compare to.
Agreed.
And so to me, if you're wasting time and not being happy, you, I don't know. I mean, that's like the biggest sin that I can ever imagine. It's just, you wasting away your. I mean, remember that there's a movie. Your time was the monetary currency or whatever. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you have time, and to me, that is what reality is. Time is the only currency that matters. And
Yeah.
if you're wasting time trying to, be in a group so that you can belong to a group, and for what purpose? Because, like I said, I asked you, even if you want to be a billionaire, why do you want to be a billionaire? It's because
I don't
you
know.
want the opportunity to do what you want. So people
Right.
say, I'm going to get this so I can do this. I'm going to work hard so I can do this, right?
Right.
That's what I'm saying is, it was a transition. It was never the end. And so the thing is, when you are trying to do that, you're chasing a non-nature benefit,
Yeah.
and that will never end right, because eventually you're gonna lose sight of who you are, and then you get like conditions to go through with the flow, and you're gonna wake up one day and you say, I've lasted like 20 years, 40 years, 50 years, 60 years of my life
Right.
that I have regretted. I wish I can take it back, right?
Right.
And so that's the thing that we're trying to, you know
I'm not
wake
hanging
people
out with
up.
Loki. I mean, I'm not hanging out with Thor. I'm hanging out with Loki, and that's cool. And I'm cool with that. Like, yeah.
Exactly. Like I said, don't go and hang out with Thor just because Thor is the god of hammer, whatever.
Right. Uh,
And so if you're mischievous, right, go have fun with Loki. Don't
right.
go play with Thor because you say, hey, that's the point. The point is, nature is so forceful. Don't force it. You will not be happy.
Agreed.
Okay, I've seen it myself, because that's what I've tried. And I was good at it. I was good at doing things that I did not want to do. Okay,
Yeah.
I was very
Yeah.
good at it, and to
Yep.
me, I regret every single minute of it.
I 100% know exactly what you mean by that,
Because
and
in the beginning, I told
yeah.
you, when I was in Vietnam, in my country, I was mischievous and I love my life. Right, everybody look at me as useless person, but I had a blast. And then when I was I get to the point where I try different things. I was like, hey, that is the model you should model after. I hate every minute of it.
Yep.
It
Yeah.
gets to the point. No, no,
You
and
can't
not
be.
only that, it gets to the point where my health is in jeopardy.
Well, not only that, like, did you have a lot of close friends as well that
I
were
get no
doing this
one,
stuff? Right.
no one, no
Because
one.
you didn't fit into that world, right? You
I
know what
did
I mean?
not.
Like it's not like there are people that thrive in academia. There are people that thrive in non-academia. You know what I mean? Like what we're trying to create over here. There's a people.
I am not an academia person because you put
Right.
me in academia, I'm
Oh
no
my
good.
God, I hate my life.
You put me in the trenches, I thrive in it, right? And
Right.
so that and the thing is, the point isn't to say, hey, be this, be that. The point is figure out who you are, then
And
go
do it
find the environment that actually help you thrive, right? Because if you're
or
good
create that environment.
if you're good in academia, then
Right.
be in academia. I'm not
Right.
telling you not to be. I'm just saying I am. I know who I want to be, and I'm not in academia. There's nothing wrong with being in academia, and there's nothing wrong with not being in academia, right? There's nothing
Right.
wrong with any of those. I'm just saying it's wrong for me because I am a different species in among the species, right? So
Right.
you are different characters. So you got to find out what kind of character you are, and then find an environment that helps you thrive in that environment. And
Exactly. We're the Homo humilis, species, subspecies of sapiens, right? Like
to
it's
me, it's I'm the homo. I don't care.
fair enough. Well, that's kind of what I mean is the homo I don't know anything. I don't give a shit. Like
Yeah, exactly. I'm more good at shit.
right. Yeah. Like
I'm more allowed whatever that line word for. I don't give a shit, right? Homo that.
exactly. Right. Not only do I not give a shit, I don't know anything, and I don't care.
I don't give a shit
right.
about not knowing anything. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. Like you can be in the subset of the wise man if you want to be. Like I would not call myself that.
You can say, hey,
Like
we don't know shit. I say, okay, okay, I don't.
I mean, if you had to put us into the wise man, peer group, where people talk all day long,
we would be the fifth wheel out, or the third
I
wheel,
mean,
fifth wheel,
like
whatever.
they'd all be like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" Every single time that I say something, all you do is just tell me why. All I would do would be the devil's advocate in that group all day long, and I'd be like, "Well, you guys are stupid because of this," and they're gonna go, "What do you mean we're stupid? You don't know any fucking thing." You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I don't. You're right. Like, you don't either. And then they'd be like, "What? We do know stuff, Chris." And I'm gonna go, "No, no, you don't." Like,
but the thing is, eventually, you have
they're not gonna want to talk to me.
Disconnect between that group. So eventually, you're
Right.
gonna be kicked out, or you're gonna leave. So either way, it will not jive. So
it won't work. Yeah.
So don't waste your time. Don't
right.
waste your
Now,
precious commodity.
now you and I can get together every night. We can say, "Well, we don't know shit." And you're like, "Yeah, you're right. We don't know shit. Let's go explore. Let's go find out more stuff that we don't know and talk about it." And that's basically what we're doing.
Because we don't enjoy like discovering about we know shit, right?
Exactly. We don't sit around talking about like how smart we are, and how much we know more than other people, like this is how it should work, like, and we're like, no, I don't know how it should work. Like, let's talk about it. Let's figure it out. Let's go have another idea and we'll have a conversation about it. And we'll throw out all different kinds of oddball crazy shit. Like nothing's off limits, let's keep going, and if there's plenty of people, trust me. I mean, I know this, like for in your own life, like there's a lot of people that would go, I don't want to do this with you. I mean, I can't even tell you how many times where like close friends of mine and other peer groups, or they're like, when I start beavering on purpose, and they're like, like, Chris, don't do this. Just like, I can't take it tonight. I'm like, fair enough. All right.
Yeah, I mean, they can't stand the activity that we do, and we can't stand the activity they do.
Right.
I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that, because if you're not aligning, don't waste the precious resource. It's just stay around with it.
You know what they do? You know what they end up talking about? They talk about fashion, or what cars they bought, or what trips they want to take, or like.
And I can't take that.
I
don't give a shit.
and I'm on the other end of it, going like, I don't care. I don't give a fuck about this. But it's funny because like we do find things that we overlap, but they're also not a group of people that I'm thinking of right now that I'm talking about that I spend every day with either, right? Like they have moments where like when I want to go indulge in that particular kind of world, like I don't bring this stuff up with them. Like why would I? Like they wouldn't care anyway. And it's not like I don't like vacations or like talking about wine or something like that every once in a while. Like I'll do it, every few months when we have a dinner party or something like that, but that's it. I don't need to talk about that anymore.
But you had your fill. When your container is so small and shallow, there's so much you can take. But there's certain things that, hey, yeah, your container is basically the bottomless containers. You can put. I mean, you and I talk shit about stuff.
Anything, everything,
I mean,
every night.
everything
Yeah,
for
right.
over like 2 years.
Right. And I don't see any time stopping going forward, like and it's
I
no
mean, the
different.
thing is, the time keep increasing every
Right.
time we get together, and we have to actually put a stop to because it's really late at night. But that's the thing is, it's almost a bottomless container. You can put
It
all
is.
this shit in over and over and over. You think about it, what the fuck would you talk about the past 2.5 years?
I couldn't even tell you, but I mean, this is exactly what I was telling you
But
with my one.
how much can you talk about cars? How much can you talk about wine? It's like,
The
hey,
people that love it, like I mean, like they could talk about it for forever,
but
like
we can't. Well, that's what
I
I'm
know,
saying.
right,
We
right,
can't.
right.
I probably have like maybe a jar full of cars and wine or beers or whatever. Right? I can say, well, I had experience one time, blah blah blah. That's it. Other than that, okay, okay.
Right. Exactly. Like no, you're spot on, and this is exactly what I was talking about with one of my best friends, Adam. Like he and I, like as soon as we get together, it's a bottomless pit of competition. Like I mean,
Mhm.
literally, we could zone out, and 4 hours later, we're in a pool, and we're skipping this rock across the pool and seeing how many times it's a competition, and you're like, what the fuck are you two doing? Like I mean, if any of our other friends are around us, they're like what are you guys fucking doing? Like, and we're like, what do you mean? What are we doing? We're playing the game. Like, this is an important game. This is really important. Like, and we're like into it. And I talked about this one in my book. When Adam came down to the lake house
Mhm.
after Amelia had passed away, and I remember within 5 minutes there was some log that was sticking like 5 feet from the dock or whatever that was
Mhm.
like floating out there and oh no, I'm sorry. There was we had floaties out in the water and stuff like that, like little noodles and whatever. And there
Mhm.
was this noodle that was like 5 feet from the dock, and I saw it, and I was like, I'm just a stupid competitive person. And I'm like, I'm gonna go jump over. I'm gonna go dive over that noodle. I know I can do it. I know I can do it.
Mhm.
And I jumped as far as I could, and I cleared it pretty damn far, right?
Mhm.
And I get out of the water, and Adam's sitting there going, I can do that, and he's like, move it out a little bit. And I'm like, okay. So we move it out a little bit, and then like he dives over, and I'm like, I can do that, So then I get back on the dock, and I'm jumping as
Right.
far as I can, and then his girlfriend, now fiance, or his fiance, now wife, was sitting on the dock going, what the fuck? And then we're like, hey, we need somebody to judge. Like, can you judge this? Make sure that we're like fully clearing, because we can't really see it ourselves, and we want to make sure this is like. She's like, fine, whatever, like, oh, Jesus Christ. So then it's like an hour later, we're still jumping over a fucking noodle as far as we can get out there, and and you're like, what is this? And I don't know. Like, I mean, but we could have done it for the next 2 weeks. We could have invented a whole other sport if you gave us more time together, and it would have been noodle dock jumping, or whatever. And like we would have been like, man, we should really take this thing public, but what you're saying, what the exact point of what you and I are talking about is like you and I could do this shit every single night, and we've done it. It's sustainable,
And we're looking forward to it, though. I
right,
mean,
and we
you
look
think
forward to
about
it.
it.
Right,
I mean,
right.
it gets to the point where this is my more like my highlight today. A lot of time, it gets to the point where you get tired right before because it's late at night. You get tired after, and
I
then
just took a nap right before this. I was so fucking tired, and now I'm not. Now I'm awake.
and now you're gonna be awake for the next hour or so before you're
right,
gonna sleep. So you can't go to sleep at night because you pumped. It's like your
right.
heart pumping. It's like, I mean, you talk about shit. It's like no one cares, but we do. But that's the point. The point is everybody has a certain interest, and you need to let your interest show. You
Right.
don't pretend, because it will never last. So the life hacks that you hear on the internet, the social media, the gurus that you pay $10,000 to go to, it does not work, because you can only wrap it for so long. Whatever is inside of it, it continues to seep out, and it will come later or sooner. So
Yep.
don't waste the time, because you're wasting a lot of time. Like I told you, I was stupid. I didn't know. I wasted a lot of time. I regret all of it. But you think about it, it's what I don't like, even though people like what I don't like, and that's fine. But don't like because other people like it,
Yep.
right?
Agreed.
So lessons for today is I think this is go back to the same thing we advocate in company is you have to learn about yourself and let you be you. That's the only thing you
Yep.
can be because you cannot change who you are. Nature is so strong.
It's almost like you need to invent your own homo
Homo blank.
sub yes exactly like homo blank like I feel like that should be like a part of we should have like subgroups of clubany where it's like this is the homo humilis tribe over here, this is
Mhm,
the wise man tribe over here, this is the homo raccoonus
mhm.
tribe over here, you know what I mean, like it would be, it's kind of funny, but it's, yeah, you're right, it's like homo blank, it's like
Yeah.
who do you want to be, who are you, and then are you around those people, right, like and go find them if you don't, right, I
I
think
mean,
that's
the thing
really,
is,
yeah.
like I said, I think that you don't have to find anyone as
Yes, I
long
agree.
as you do. Let's say you're a beaver and you building a dam, right? Other beaver will see you because you are exuding that characteristic. They're gonna see you. They're gonna get attracted to the building of the stuff. And to me, that's all
Yes.
you have to do because that's the only thing you can control. You can't control other people. You can, hey, I gotta go find these beavers. I gotta find this line, whatever. And to me, like those are random chances. You can't control that, but you can control what you express. Because a
Right.
lot of people today is they pretend. Let's say I don't drink, okay, and I want to belong to this sales group or this marketing group or whatever. They drink every day, so I am gonna have an ulcer trying to be like them.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're right.
And
Yep.
I have the worst time every single day. I have the most stress. And that eventually they will know. The thing is, they're not gonna like me anyway because I can't drink as much as them. I don't have fun when I drink. So then they can say, well, this guy is what he's doing here. So I'm not even like in the circle.
Right.
I'm trying to be in the circle because they won't let me in the circle because I exude this non
You're not
this
a you're not a
non
meathead. You're not you're not a,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
it doesn't connect, right?
Right.
And so for me is I'm not getting the benefit. I'm miserable, and I'm wasting my time.
Yeah.
And so you think about that, right? It's you can't control that, and you can't say, well, I'm gonna go find the people. The only thing you can do is you gotta be yourself and express who you are. If you are this, spontaneous person, and be spontaneous, don't be reserved. If you reserved, and people say, hey, oh, that guy reserved. I'm gonna the other reserved people is gonna come and say, hey, I want to be like you. I'm gonna talk to
Right.
you. The spontaneous people can say, well, you're reserved. I don't want to talk to you.
Right.
I want to because the thing is you hiding yourself. So my I guess what I see is people are pretending to be something they're not or wanting to be. Saying, I want to be like this guy because blah blah blah. The thing is that's the biggest mistake I've made.
Agreed.
I've made that because when I grew, because the thing is I had this I guess more of a odd childhood because I don't have a regular childhood because my dad is in the Vietnam War. He's a he well, you can call it Vietnam veteran, but but he's because I was born after the Vietnam War because he's a soldier in the Vietnamese army. We don't have a location. We can't. We don't have an identity. My dad basically don't exist. Okay,
Right.
because he just burned all his identity, so they don't get put in jail or anything like that. So I don't have a childhood. Like other people. We move from place to place, and it very often. And then we go to school, or whatever. It's always in a back alley. I come because basically my identity is there's no identity of who I am. And then when it comes to and then I come to America when I was 10 years old, right? I don't have an identity and I can't grab onto one because I cannot like resonate with anyone because I don't speak the language and I don't
Right.
have the behavior. So it can't latch into anything. So I basically, you basically outcast and orphaned, often
Right.
from your own country, often from the country that you came to. And then, right, you trying to attach to something. People say, hey, you be this person, the rest. So I became that and it was not the decision that I liked. I mean,
Right.
I didn't. I mean, I thought that was what I wanted, but
Right.
over the years, I sacrificed all of my health, all of my time, my resources, which to me is the worst period of my life. And to me, that's the thing that we want to advocate is that to understand yourself is to be happy. If you don't understand yourself and you exude something else, you are attracting the wrong kind of people to your life,
Right.
and it's gonna make you miserable because it just like I say, hey, if you don't like violence and people wants to go and smash up mailboxes and beat up innocent people, well, you can't, you feel awful participating.
Right.
If you don't
Yeah.
like to drink, right? You go out, you drink, you feel awful being in that crowd.
I
And so you
hated
go
it. I mean,
home and you take off the mask, right? You're exhausted.
right.
That's what you're doing. So don't do that. Just find out really who you are and be that person. And other people are going to attract you to that characteristic.
You know what? It's funny you share that because like I've been told this many times in my life. Like for some weird reason, I've always been able to say no to other groups that didn't that I just instinctively was like, no, like I could be friends with people. I was friends with a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was friends with the stoners, right? I was friends with the theater people. I was friends with the drama people. I was friends with the meatheads. I was friends with like all these people, but I was never close with them, right? Like I had my close group of people, but I was always friendly with other people. And whenever they asked me to engage more, I was like, no, I'm good. Like, and I remember, like even tennis players, right? Like I don't like they're my tennis friends. Like I don't. It's not like I'm having fun with them, talking about this stuff with them every single night or whatever. Like we can play tennis every night, but like I'm pretty sure that you don't want to do anything else besides that with me outside of the tennis world. They ask me all the time. They're like, "Hey, you should come over to like meet my wife. We're having a party, whatever." And I'm like, I'm good.
Right. I mean, and the thing is, it's funny because I'm the same way in high school, right? In high school, is I belong. I basically I'm in quote unquote in groups. Like I'm in other groups. I'm in the football jocks. I'm in the cheerleader group. I'm in the student council group. I'm in the computer group. I'm in the whatever group that is. I'm in it, right?
right.
But I'm not in it.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah,
thing is,
and you know when you're in it or you know when you're not in it. You know
and you
it.
think
Like,
about it, you look at that, right? Hey, this guy's popular. He's everywhere. But the point is, it's not because I didn't know where I belong. So
exactly.
I'm everywhere. Like I'm like a ping pong, blah, 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 right? It was just bouncing back and forth. I'm in all the groups,
Right.
science fair group, right? Student council, anything, right? Anything, everything. I'm in it. Like I mean, it doesn't matter what kind of like theater group, newspaper group, whatever group is there, right?
Right.
I'm in it. I'm in those groups. But the thing is, I'm not in this group because
Right.
I participate in some activity, but not all activities. Because when they invite me to the party, I would say no. But when they have to do the activity at school, then I participate. I participate some. So that's what I'm saying is I'm in all of them. But the sad reality is I wasn't in any of them.
Oh yeah. And
So
I
so
and I
it's
and I knew
actually
that
that's worse than actually belong to. Let's say, hey, I don't belong with the jocks, or I
right.
belong to the computer science group, and I belong to whatever. It is worse than actually belong to one group and not other groups.
I totally agree. And like that's kind of what I was alluding to was like for whatever weird reason, like I've always known when I don't belong to a group, but I don't exclude
And I think
anybody.
we do. I think
Right.
all of us do because we
Oh,
we,
always.
we
Yeah.
feel a little bit like strange.
Yeah. You're like you're an
Because
outsider a little bit. Like you can
if
be
you
friendly.
have to pretend, because for me is when I say things to you, I don't think about it. It just goes out.
Right. Yeah.
Right? I
Exactly.
say the F bomb, I say whatever, it just goes out. That's because I am comfortable being who I am,
Right.
right? But if I go and I talk to somebody, right, I have to watch my words. I cannot belong in that group because I'm trying to reserve something.
Right.
Okay. So the thing is, you think about it, it is takes energy for you to be reserved. Let's say you go to work, right? You go to work and you talk to your, keep your
Oh,
group,
I
right?
I had to be so reserved at Salesforce. I had to be so
Exactly.
reserved, so reserved. Like I could
That's
not
why it's
ever
exhausting, don't
like
you think?
it is exhausting. I mean, not only that, it's boring. Like it's fucking boring. Like when you have to always be thinking about like what am I supposed to do in this situation? Versus like yeah, and then you hold back like
Mhm.
often because you're like, I'm pretty sure I can't do this, which is what I want to do, and then you're like, oh, okay, and then you just stop. You just stop engaging. You just start playing the game, and you start going, okay,
Yep.
what does this culture want me to do? And that sucks. Like it's like I don't want to be that person, and honestly, I'm not my best self, like, I mean, it's,
You're not
uh,
yourself. You basically
right.
not yourself when
Not yourself. Yeah.
you are reserved, right? That's what I'm saying is when you go to a certain group, even though you can share most of the things about you and yourself, but you have to hold something back.
Mhm.
You're not being yourself, and you do that, it still costs energy for you to be that person. And so doing that, you're not having fun. But you and I get together. It's like we have no agenda. We just, hey, let's look at what we have to look at next, and we just look at it and say, what's on your mind? And we just talk shit about stuff,
Right.
right? But
But we
that's
do have an
who.
agenda. It's an organic agenda that actually that we both know instinctively that it matters to us.
Right, the
And
topic
like,
itself,
right, right, yeah, yeah,
we say, hey, whatever topic comes up, I'm sure it's going to be interesting to hear what Chris
right,
has to say, and
exactly,
that's all that matters. And that's why, from my perspective, in a group that you are completely aligned to, you get to be 100% yourself.
exactly.
And so to me, that's something you need to look forward to. It's like, hey, what group can I be in that I can be 100% myself? It's just like you and your wife. Like you have to be 100% with yourself because
Hmm?
she knows everything about you and you know everything about her. But there's no like, oh, there's
You
something I
you
don't know
better
about her.
be 100% yourself around your
Because
significant
otherwise,
other, because
if you
otherwise,
don't, then it won't last. I
yeah,
guarantee you, it won't last
right,
because
yeah, exactly,
even like you do 99% of it,
right,
99.99% of it. There's one thing that you held back. That gonna cost you this disruption in your marriage.
yeah,
That, and to me, and then even if you have that, it's it's still gonna wait on you. So the thing is, even a very small thing is going to weigh a ton over the long run. Just like if I ask you to hold up a glass of water, right? So
yep,
hold it up for a minute. How do you feel? I'm good. Hold it for an hour. How do you feel? It's heavy, right?
right.
Hold it for a day. Hold it for a year. How long can you hold that glass of water?
I mean, eventually you can't. Is the
It's
point,
heavy. It's
right,
gonna
yeah,
waste a ton.
right,
So even for the smallest thing, you cannot be yourself. You're trying to hold up that shield, that facade for that tiny little thing, because that tiny little thing over time it weighs a ton,
right.
and it's going to stress you out. And so
It
that's what
does.
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying is there's certain things you think that hey, I belong to this group because I participate most of the activity in it. But if you don't have 100% of it, eventually that single tiny grain of rice will weigh a ton, and it will cost you everything.
Yeah. I
It
mean,
will tip the scale on you.
1000% agree. I mean, it's you know it when you know it, and you know it when you don't know it. Is the point, right? And if you don't know it, don't force it. Like, because that's when you get into problems, right? When you're around the stoners, that you like them, you like 50% of the stoners, but you don't like the other 50% of what they do. Then hang out with them once every 6 months, or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, but you're not a part of their crew. Like, you
Right,
are,
right. Every single container has its, I guess, limits of volume, right? So
right,
once you fill it up, right, you don't participate anymore because otherwise it will flow, and then that's creates a mess. And so
exactly.
whatever, if you hey, I like 50% of the stoner, whatever that fills up the stoner container, then you say, hey,
Then
thank you, I have
get
enough.
out. Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
come back whenever it's empty.
right. Exactly, exactly. All right. Well, speaking of that, though, because we always have to cut these things off. Like, I got to go to bed.
Right.
That was fun as always. The question I think that we can leave with everybody is what would you rather be, a wise person or a humble person? And to be crystal clear on the humble person, I do not mean that in like humble, like, oh, woe is me, like, I mean that in like, I don't know anything is what I mean by humble
Right.
person. Not
Yes.
not a, oh, no, you go first. No, you go first. No, 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 no. Like, like, no, I'm not talking about that
That's not a
whatever.
real humble.
Right. I don't know what that
That's
even means.
pretending
Right,
humble.
right, right. So I do not get this as like, homo humilis and is like some pretentious message about like it's better to be humble than it is to be wise. Like, that is not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying be curious.
To say that I'm humble, you're not humble.
Right.
That's what that. So that's not true humble. If you say I'm a humble person,
Or wise, you could say the same thing. If you say I'm the wise person, you're probably not the wise person.
because the moment you say you're humble, you violate.
Exactly.
So the thing
Exactly.
is, it's the essence of the humility.
Yes.
That's what you mean. the real humble, not the hey, okay, you go first. The thing is, you're just pretending to show that you're a humble person,
Right.
which means you're not a humble person. Humble person just is. You don't have to show it. You don't have to say it. If you do, then you are not. It's
Exactly.
just that's the way the world works. Okay,
I mean,
think about it.
Homo sapiens, wise man, is the ultimate virtue signal. You know, we're telling everybody this is who we are. We're the wise man. You know, and it's a virtue signal. Like, I mean, we're well, yeah, we're supposed to be the smart ones. You know, we are the smart ones. Like, fuck you all. You know, we are the smart ones. You know, but we also are probably Cecily Strong. You know, where it's
Yeah, go learn a book.
learn a book, Seth. You know, all right. Anyway, all right, that's it. Let's have a great night, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Sounds good. Good night.